What revenge did you take that people called too far, but felt exactly right? I destroyed my father's entire life, and I'd do it again without hesitation. Growing up, my dad was the golden boy of our small town. Respected businessman, church deacon, little league coach. Everyone thought he was the perfect family man. What they didn't see was what happened behind closed doors. My mother worked 2 jobs to support us while he gambled away every dollar she made. When she confronted him, he'd hit her. When I tried to protect her, he'd hit me instead. By the time I was 12, I'd learned to read his moods like weather patterns, always bracing for the next storm. My mother finally found the courage to leave him when I was 14. She filed for divorce and took me with her. We moved into a tiny apartment, started over with nothing. My father hired the most expensive lawyer in the county and painted her as an unstable, unfit mother. He got 50-50 custody despite everything. The judge believed the church deacon over the woman with bruises she was too ashamed to photograph. For the next 4 years, I spent every other week in his house pretending everything was fine. He remarried quickly, a younger woman named Christy, who thought she'd landed the town's most eligible bachelor. He played the devoted husband and father role perfectly in public. At home, the cycle started again. I watched him isolate Christy from her friends, control her finances, criticize everything she did until she stopped doing anything without his permission. When she got pregnant, I thought maybe he'd change. He didn't. If anything, it got worse. The night their daughter was born, he didn't even go to the hospital because he was at a poker game. Christy cried alone in a delivery room while nurses asked where her husband was. I visited her the next day and saw the same look in her eyes that my mother used to have. That hollow, trapped stare of someone who knows they made a terrible mistake but can't see a way out. I turned 18 and moved out the same week. Went to college 3 states away, started building my own life. My father expected me to come home for holidays, play the grateful son, keep up appearances. I did, for a while. Then my mother got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, stage 4. She'd been ignoring symptoms for months because she couldn't afford the doctor visits, working herself to death at 2 jobs while my father lived in a 5-bedroom house with a boat in the driveway. I came home to take care of her. For 6 months, I watched the strongest woman I'd ever known wither away to nothing. The last thing she said to me was that she was sorry she couldn't protect me better. She apologized to me. That broke something inside me permanently. At her funeral, my father showed up in an expensive suit, shook hands with old friends, told everyone how tragic it was. He didn't cry. He didn't even stay for the burial. He had a tea time. 2 weeks after we buried my mother, I started collecting evidence. I'd been watching my father for years, and I knew his patterns. The gambling wasn't just casual anymore. He'd moved into illegal territory, running a private poker room in the back of his business where serious money changed hands. I knew which nights, which players, which cops looked the other way because he paid them off. I also knew he'd been cheating on Christy for years. Multiple women, hotel receipts, text messages he thought he'd deleted. I hired a private investigator with money from my mother's life insurance. Within a month, I had everything. Photos, financial records, witness statements. I built a file so comprehensive that any lawyer would salivate. Then I sent copies to 3 places simultaneously. The State Gaming Commission received documentation of his illegal gambling operation. The IRS received 10 years of evidence showing unreported income and tax fraud. And Christy received a folder containing proof of every affair, every lie, every hidden account he'd kept from her. The dominoes fell faster than I expected. The Gaming Commission raid happened first. They shut down his business, seized his assets, found cash he couldn't explain. The IRS investigation followed within weeks, freezing every account while they audited his entire financial history. His expensive lawyer dropped him when the retainer check bounced. Christy filed for divorce the same day, armed with evidence that guaranteed she'd get everything he had left. He tried calling me, begging me to help, swearing he'd change. I let every call go to voicemail. Mutual relatives told me I'd gone too far. They said he was still my father, that everyone deserved forgiveness, that my mother would have wanted me to show mercy. I told them my mother spent her whole life showing him mercy, and it killed her. He took a plea deal to avoid prison and got 5 years probation plus restitution he'll never finish paying. Christy got the house, full custody, and a restraining order.